All right, good morning. Out of respect for people's time, we're going to get started. Thank you. I hope that everybody will join. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the York College Executive Leadership Breakfast, pandemic style. We're living the COVID life. That's what we're doing. We're trying to be flexible and fluid. I am Berenecea Johnson Eanes, the president of York College, and we are delighted to have three dynamic speakers with us this morning. Tom Gretsch, who is from our own foundation board. Wave Tom, the president of the Queen's Chamber of Commerce, and we're so happy to have him here. Ms. Hope Knight, the president of the CEO of Greater Jamaica Development Corporation, and our newest, one of our wonderful board members. Thank you for waving, Hope. Thank you. And one of our new board members, Ms. Dawn Kelly, CEO of the Nourish Spot, a family-owned healthy food, smoothie, and natural bar located in Jamaica, Queens. She is also a partner with Metropolis Group, UC. So thank you for being here. And we want to thank everybody for being here in this morning. So even though we know that this is not your everyday life, please mute your phone if you're not speaking. Good morning, good morning. This is not your everyday situation. We wanted to honor the history of our executive breakfast. So we want to honor the fact that these discussions are for our community to come together. And our most recent speaker was our Lieutenant Governor. And we had our FEMA military officers that were here at York, and that was fantastic. They will tell us more about what we're doing. And I will ask Dana to fill in the chat where we are on our vaccine site. We're very proud of our vaccine site. So I'm going to ask her to put in the number of how many people that we have vaccinated so far at York College, because it's a big civic duty, and we're very, very excited. Today, we're going to be asking our small business owners, our people connected with the community, each of them from a different perspective, what they think about right now, COVID, and the future as it relates to entrepreneurship and small businesses. I know that Ms. Knight, Mr. Gretsch, and Ms. Kelly have a wealth of information for you. They know this community very well. They're in the community, working in the community all the time. I'm so pleased to announce that the Queen's Daily Eagle is a co-sponsor of this event. And I want to congratulate publisher Michael Nussbaum on his recent appointment as a civic commissioner of civic engagement. Thank you so much, Mr. Nussbaum, for your support. As president, I would also be remiss if I did not ask you today to buy tickets to our May 1st fundraiser. We are going to have the most fabulous virtual event ever. So if you have not gone and looked at the Virtual Mosaic website, please check it out and buy these very cost-efficient tickets to our website, to our event. It's really a big deal. We're really excited. So I'll revisit that later. It's May 1st at 6:30. So we're very excited. It's a virtual mosaic. We're raising funds for our students specifically. The money will go directly to our students, and I want you to know that we appreciate your support. So without further ado, let's get this breakfast going. Thank you for being here. So I'm going to pose this question to our fantastic leaders. Business is one of our most popular majors at York College, including entrepreneurship. What advice would you give to the students, faculty, and staff who are supporting, interested, or pursuing in starting their own business for their economic survival right now? Thank you, panelists, for being here. I'm going to start with Hope, then I'm going to go with Tom, and then Don. You ready? Thank you.
I think I'm ready. Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here. I'd like to say that this is a question that's near and dear to my heart. I was a business major undergrad, and so really feel, an affinity for the students and faculty in that space. The first thing I would say is that I would recommend to the students that they focus on the fundamentals in their coursework, particularly accounting. I think accounting is one of the most important skills and area of knowledge that a business person needs to have. I also think there's an opportunity for people with strong accounting skills to be able to get work. You can do bookkeeping in college. if you have a couple of accounting courses under your belt, and that gives you an opportunity to earn while you are learning the field. I also would recommend that students take advantage of as many internships as possible, both in business settings as well as entrepreneurial settings. I think that students should definitely try to identify entrepreneurs they would like to shadow to get a sense of what it is like to really own a business. And then I would also charge faculty and staff to think about creating entrepreneurial opportunities on campus. Things like pop-up cafes, pop-up bookstores, all kinds of sales and maybe even vendor opportunities for students to be able to take advantage of.
Thank you, Hope. All right, Tom, tell me what you're thinking.
Thank you so much for having me today. First of all, what a great panel you put together. I'm just honored to be here. I wanted to give a quick shout out to some people I see in the chat that are here. Dr. Stacy NC Grant, who is a partner in crime and helping out getting companies all across the area MWBE certified as part of the LaGuardia, as part of the JFK redevelopment. Nice to see her face. Also, Joseph Edwards from Congressman Meek's office, and also another really good friend, Anthony Andrews. A couple things. I think that right now, again, I'm an eternal optimist, right? But, there's really nowhere to go but up. I mean, we've endured some of the worst of the worst of the worst in the history of our country, our city, and our state, including Queens. I've said it before, the epicenter of the epicenter, we kind of want to move beyond that, right? There's a great opportunity. Rents are lower, not in a wonderful way, but rents are lower. I've gone to probably a dozen ribbon cuttings in the last 45 days. That's a beautiful testament to the resiliency of our people, no matter their ethnicity or their race or anything. People are getting back into it. They understand that it's it's always darkest before the dawn, so to speak, and we are really close to the dawn. Between the herd mentality, between the inoculations. And by the way, kudos to Dr. Eanes for her hard work at getting work to be a preeminent vaccination site. That's what it's all about, right? Getting ourselves back up and running. But I think the entrepreneurial spirit lives in places like Queens County. There are a ton of new members joining the chamber, which is great because I think they see the light at the end of the tunnel and they're really working hard at thinking about how they can reinvent themselves, right? People taking advantage of the fact that they were caged away literally for like the last year, and now it's kind of lifting. It's also a great time to have this happening with the spring. If you were out and about this weekend, it was just remarkable to see. I was throughout on Saturday afternoon. We're bouncing back. It's going to be a while, but we're bouncing back. And so a great time to start a business. Resources at places like Hope's organization, the Greater Jamaica Development Corp at York, and also at the Queen's Chamber.
So thank you, Tom. And what I will say is the theme I'm hearing is being bold, being courageous, thinking outside the box, be creative, and see the opportunity in this community. So Dawn, what do you have to tell us?
Well, first I want to say thank you very much, Dr. Eanes, for inviting me to be part of this conversation. I agree wholeheartedly what Hope and Tom had to offer about learning the fundamentals and about the internship possibilities. I also think having the opportunity for students to engage in actual real life opportunities on campus through pop-up stores and that nature are absolutely excellent ideas too. It's important because small business is the engine of America's economy. We've learned over the last year or so that it's small business that hires pretty much most of America, or really half of America's workforce. And so it's important for individuals that are in business courses right now to go forth and establish businesses because we need them. We need them to actually materialize so that they can actually meet the needs of all of the different people in our communities, because there are a lot of people with a lot of different needs. So I say once they do their research, and they've learned all that they need to learn in school, I say jump in with both feet, establish the business, and get about meeting the needs of our community.
So before we go to the next more formal question, what I will ask all of you all, because you never know who's on the call who needs to hear it, what is the one thing you wish that somebody had told your younger self? Your younger self. I'm going to ask you what you wish somebody told your 19-year-old self. 19 to 25, right? And it doesn't have to be a lot of words. It's just going to be direct. Tell me what you wish somebody had told that person, right? Okay, Tom, I'm coming to you first.
Don't be afraid to fail.
All right.
Don't be afraid to fail, because you know what? When you're 19 years old, chances are you have no mortgage, you have probably no car payment, you have limited expenses. I taught entrepreneurship for 7 years at Farmingdale State College, and I would tell my students that all the time. If you're living in mom and dad's basement, if you're living in your own spare bedroom in your house, and you start up a company and it fails miserably, you tuck your tail between your legs and you go back at it. You probably didn't lose much in the way of money, and you probably learned a hell of a lot along the way. So don't be afraid to fail.
Thank you for that. And we don't know how many students are here, but it doesn't matter. Faculty, staff, students, anybody can learn from these lessons. So, okay. Hope, are you ready?
Yes.
19 to 25-year-old self. Go ahead.
So this is a variation of what Tom said, but for me, I wish somebody told me that take your time, slow down, it'll all come together. I was in such a rush to get it all done and missed a lot of guideposts along the way. And so, take it in, it'll all come together. Don't worry so much.
Gotcha. All right, Don, what you got for us?
I second the emotion of Tom and of Hope. But the other thing that I think I wish someone would have told me when I was younger was to dream larger and louder. I think that in my day growing up, we didn't dream as big and as grand for our lives. We had small dreams because we weren't really sure if we were going to be able to achieve them based on the society that we were living in. And so I would tell myself and young people that are listening, dream huge, because you may not meet the moon, but you may touch the stars.
So for everybody in our Zoom community, if you want to put in the chat your advice to the 1925 self, you go ahead and put it in there, because everybody can learn from it. It's fantastic. We appreciate that. What I will also offer to you all is that one of the things that I love about these three leaders is that they are leaders who are courageous. They have made their mark in this community in a real way. And if you want to see three people who are daring and bold, these are the three people you want to talk to. So thank you. All right. So the business community, how do we prepare to move this engine that was totally shut down to waking up? So I'm going to ask you for your own little advice, right? It's COVID centric, right? How do you bring this giant of an environment, right? Because that's the thing that I've been looking at, right? The steamliner, right? How do you bring this reality back to a space that's safe, but also is thriving? And we have to have our small businesses and our community thriving and our everything. So like, tell us from your perspective, the little things that you think are important to keep in mind as we move through COVID, hopefully into a new space, right? And not the space we're in. So Donna, I'm coming to you first, and then I'm going to do Tom, and then I'll come to you, Hope. All right. And anybody who wants to offer their advice on what you put it in the chat to the other question. Thank you so much. All right, Don.
So as a business owner, it's heartening to see that the city is starting to open. But I would say that I think that it's so important for public-private partnerships. The Nourish Spot we're doing well because of the partners that we have in the community, not just our customers. And those partners are Greater Jamaica Development Corporation with Hope Knight and her staff, and Aaron and Brendez, as well as Queens Chamber of Commerce with Tom and his staff. You know, a business, in my opinion, is only as strong as its community and its residents. And so if in fact we're all not partnering and working together, then we're all not going to do well. And so I think that it's really important. And I meant to mention this earlier about cultivating relationships. You know, students, while they're in school, they should cultivate relationships with their other colleagues, because you never know where they may end up after they graduate. And business owners need to cultivate relationships with organizations, service associations like the Deltas and like the AKAs and the Links, and, you know, all of the different organizations in the community, because through partnerships, that is the way I think that we will all rise together.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, Tom.
This goes in the column of the job, the neighborhood, the restaurant, the museum you save may be your own. So we've heard enough about the fact that the hotel industry is bad. The tourists aren't coming back as fast as we would like. Here's my perspective. There's 8 million people in New York. I know a ton of people, which I still have a hard time believing, who have never been to the Empire State Building, the Statue of Liberty, the Staten Island Ferry, the Queens Museum, the Sphere, right? 8 million people. Go out and do a staycation. Go out and spend money locally. These folks need to get their businesses jump-started. Museums and other places got devastated during this period of time. You know, there's 6,000 restaurants in Queens. We estimated that we lost 1,000, right? You want to go out and do something and help out the community, help out the neighborhood, grab the family, grab the kids, grab grandma, go out for dinner. Take them out to dinner, go for a walk, take the subway. We normally have 5 million riders on a daily basis. People at the MTA are all excited. We got 2 million. We need to infuse our own capital into our own neighborhoods, into the 5 boroughs. Go to the Queens Museum, go see the people, go to a Met game, right? All these things matter. So you want to bring the economy back, vote with your feet. It's nice to go away to like Bahamas or something, right? But for the next couple of months, until things get warmed up a little bit, when I say warmed up, I mean the business engine, go and shop local, buy local, visit local.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, Hope, you ready?
Yes. So would wholeheartedly agree with Tom with respect to buy local, shop local, go to the Nourish Spot, really support your local businesses. Just to share, you know, something that we did at my organization at Greater Jamaica, you know, every week we had a little drawing where we would provide folks lunch money and have them go to a restaurant in their neighborhood and take a picture of the food and the menu, so that not only would they be frequenting a local small business, but also promoting it amongst staff, and maybe staff would promote it amongst their network. This is so important that these small businesses get customers as the economy starts to open. The other thing that I would like to pass along is, you know, we are now entering a new reality. Things have changed. And I think it's important for students to think about these new human behaviors that have been adopted during COVID, because I think some of this is not going to go back to the way it was. So look at trends and patterns that now exist and see if there's an opportunity to commercialize that, because I do think there will be a lot of opportunities going forward to commercialize things that hadn't been done in the past.
Yep, I totally agree. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. So this is the thing I keep telling people about, you know, study abroad. People are like, oh, the students should study abroad. Students should do internships, but they're study away. So I will share the study away concept. So study away is studying away in your own community. That means you go and work with Don, and you go and work at Hope, and you do a non-traditional spring break and do, so study away is a concept that I want to build at your college really badly, because our students can do a week, right? In a week or 2 weeks in some place that will transform their experience. And it doesn't mean that they have to leave their family, their job, or their situation. It puts them in a really special place for a week or 2 weeks at the most, right? So I'm hoping that in the future, I'll be able to talk to a lot of small business owners in the community with the help of my board members that are on this call, and develop a fantastic study away program for your college students. And it's just 1 week. You went and worked at the Nourish Spot for 1 week, and you let somebody teach you about that. You were assigned to a program that Tom was integrated with, or Hope, because I think that when I was coming up, that changed your life, right? Having that experience and just going in and going out and it not being a big thing. Study abroad is fantastic, but again, it's very pricey, and it's also a large time commitment that sometimes our students can't do. So I offer that to our guests so that they know that I'm coming your way. I'm going to ask you about that. That's my dream. I'm hoping. All right. So how can our business community in Queens prepare to thrive in the context of our current, right? Our current and future situation. So surviving is one thing, thriving is another thing. I want to hope to speak a little bit about Greater Jamaica and what their hopes are for the area. And then I want each of you all to speak a little bit about what you see happening in this community. I want to give you the platform. Thank you.
Sure. So we have a long way to go as we enter into the future with respect to getting the economy to be more durable for our community. But I am optimistic about the future. You know, the one thing that Southeast Queens had going for it before the pandemic is that there was tremendous construction going on. And there are going to be, over the next 24 months, going forward, over 6,000 units of residential housing, both affordable and market rate, which will bring, thousands of families to the downtown that will be able to help generate and expand economic activity here. So that is an opportunity. Travel will come back. It's going to take some time. And so many of our aviation and airport related service businesses will come back, and there will be opportunity to expand and grow. Although the JFK redevelopment project has been delayed, it will come to pass, and that will be another economic engine that will support this downtown community. And then from the Greater Jamaica side, we have been working on a co-working space on Parsons Boulevard. We were going to go into construction last year, right before the pandemic. We decided to put that on hold because we didn't have a sense of what was going on. But we are now going into construction, and this will be a space for 80 small businesses to be able to have contemporary, modern office space. We have reconfigured the space so that it is appropriate for social distancing concerns, but we do believe that this will be an incredible resource facility that can support emerging small businesses through a series of life stages. And so, like I said, I am very optimistic around what's next, and particularly for Southeast Queens.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Thank you. Tom, do you have updates on that?
Yeah, so a couple things. We were lucky and blessed enough to get some funding from the Partnership for New York City, thanks to the leadership of Kathy Wild, as well as the Peter Peterson Foundation, to add some people to actually be boots on the ground, to go out and knock throughout what Queens is the largest geographic borough. We added staff. And what we learned along the way with that, offering help and assistance and going to small businesses, and saying, what do you need? Some of them didn't know what they didn't know, right? Before the pandemic, if you were like a Mama's Empanadas, maybe even a Nourish Spot, it was word of mouth. People know the Nourish Spot because of Dawn and her vociferous support, right? Mama's Empanadas, Anthony Bourdain, there's a line around the block. Guess what? The COVID comes. Who knows about it? No social media, most part. I'm not speaking about Dawn specifically, but other ones a lot smaller, no social media, no website, whatever. So we went out there and helped them build a social media platform, SEO, and online ordering, point of sale stuff. So if you think about what's the student going to go into and pivot to from the same old, if I was a young person today, I would think about going out and learning all I could about SEO, all about how to get a mom and pop business, a global platform on the internet. It's really that simple. Getting there is a challenge, right? But boy, I want Mama's Empanadas and the thousands of other places, including the Nourish Spot, to grow and prosper. But the world's got to know about it, and the region's got to know about it. Southeast Queens got to know about it. Hope and I make it like probably in every, I don't know, 3 to 6 month thing to go to the Door restaurant, one of my favorites. I want to make sure the Door is known throughout the city and throughout the area. So again, before it was like, oh, you want some really good food? So go to the Door. Now we got to expand that. We got to, and the world has changed in that way. And so opportunity, disaster leads to opportunity, and we've got it right at our fingertips.
Fantastic. I agree. Over communicate. I was told by a wonderful mentor of mine that as a leader, we are the chief repeaters. You can't be scared to repeat yourself, right? So repeat. Because sometimes the first 5 times nobody hears you. On that 6th time, they may hear you, right? All right. So Dawn, talk to me.
So, I'm so glad that you brought that up, because as a PR person, first and foremost, I had to really get into myself and say, if I don't tell the world about the Nourish Spot, nobody will know. And I had to remember that the real reason why all of these huge brands pay money to be on the Super Bowl and all these other, the NBA, is because they need to have people see them over and over and over again. They say that you have to see things at least 3 times for it to take effect. So what I see for Jamaica is growth. My family has been in this community nearly a century. And so I have had the opportunity to see Jamaica actually go in so many cycles, and I'm excited about what is coming to Jamaica. When I look up, and when I'm on Jamaica Avenue and I look up and I see all those tall buildings, it makes me really proud about new opportunities and new people and new chances in Jamaica, Queens. And I do believe that there's opportunity for all of us. And so as entrepreneurs, I think it's important for us to skill up. Okay, so we have a place like York College where we could come to learn at the SBDC. We have Hope at Greater Jamaica and her team providing classes. We have the QEDC. We have the RDRC giving classes, as well as the Tech Incubator. So there's all types of opportunities in Queens for entrepreneurs to skill up, to upskill, if you will, and learn new things, as well as our residents. So I think the time is now for people to get about learning, for people to get out there and actually run after their passions. And if it is becoming a business owner, then take advantage of all the opportunities, including the New York Small Business Solutions Center that's here in Jamaica as well, to help us all win.
Good. Thank you.
Yes. So we have all the resources that we need at our hand. We just have to take part, and we have to ask the questions and build the relationships. And I believe that we can all win together.
So I'm going to ask you a question that, I'm unscripted. This is what we do. So I'm going to say, there's 2 things. What was your greatest mistake coming along? If you have a mistake you want to share. And the other thing I will say is, based on what Dawn just said, I'm coming to you first, Dawn. We have all these resources. What do you think keeps people from developing that next thing or going to that next thing?
Okay, so I'm gonna answer the last question first, because it was a big one. So I think the thing that keeps people from developing things is two things. One is fear. Just fear, just not believing that you're equipped to excel. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing, I'm going to say money, but I want to change that more so to resources, because it's not just money that you need resources, you need access. So I think that's the thing that keeps people from making the leap. Now, President Eanes, could you please tell me the first part of that question one more time?
Well, it was more, you answered it. It was more
Okay.
just me asking, what do you think keeps people from going? And then what do you think people should keep in mind? So you're good. You're good.
Okay,
You're
perfect.
good. All right, Tom, you ready?
Yeah, I think so. So, greatest mistake, I would think would be not getting enough knowledge out of the business failures that I've had, right? So I did a Fortune 500 thing with R.R. Donnelley, a big printing company, and Sony Corporation in the supply chain, and a couple of startups. And I will tell you to this day, listen, I didn't make a ton of money on the one successful startup that I exited, but the two that failed the most miserably, I learned the most from. You got to learn from your mistakes in the spirit of what you wouldn't do. And in this another vein of something that was one of my best choices I could have made was in a sales meeting in 1992 before NAFTA became big. And yes, I'm older than most. I was asked if I spoke Spanish by a show of hands. I barely spoke Spanish. It was basically sí or no or cerveza, but I raised my hand and I was sent to Central and South America to open up offices. And I learned while doing, and that opened up the doors to a career in Argentina, Mexico. Take a chance is my point. Take a chance. Don't be bashful. What's keeping people from succeeding? If that's part two of that question, Dawn said it, fear. And listen, at the end of the day, go big or go home. If you're going to make a mistake, make a big one, because I don't know, we all can't be Mark Zuckerberg that founded Facebook. We all can't be the guys that founded Google, but there's plenty of people that went out there and celebrate their own successes, what makes them happy. I think in this day and age right now, with the hell we've gone through over the last 13, 14 months, starting up a not-for-profit would not be a terrible thing. Starting up a company that does well by doing good would not be a bad thing. I'm not sure what they might be, but if people needed any advice from this call, I know Dawn Hope well enough would be willing to be a mentor or at least a shoulder to listen to and to cry on.
Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, say Hope, I'm coming to you. And then I want to shout out to some of the people that are on our call. I'm going to come to the community and I'm going to ask you all a random question. So you never know who I'm going to call on. So get ready. And I see a hand up. Rosemary, you ready for me to come to you after Hope?
I'm actually just clapping because I am so grateful and so happy to hear all these wonderful advice and all these wonderful resources and just stories that people are sharing. So I'm just clapping.
Okay, very good. You have to, I don't always know the clap from the hand raise. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Okay, Hope.
Yeah, so I think one of my biggest mistakes professionally was not taking enough risk. So, I had come out of business school in the late 90s, and there were all these companies that didn't make any sense to me, like Facebook, like Salesforce, like DoubleClick. And I had colleagues going to work for those firms, and I was saying, well, what are they going to do? I don't even know what these businesses do. And in the beginning, a lot of these .com firms, it was a little ambiguous in terms of what they were going to be focused on. But many of these large names clearly have found their way, and so have been very successful in their pursuit of a mission.
Yeah.
One of the things I'll say, and just build on what Tom and Dawn said with respect to what people don't do enough of, is I think it's not taking advantage of resources. We are resource rich. And particularly, just looking at this call with Tom and the chamber, Dawn, we have Queens QEDC, and a plethora of other service organizations focused on helping entrepreneurs achieve. And so I think that we're in a moment in time when, you know, there are a lot of resources and folks are supportive. And so I think the moment is now to really think about how do you leverage and exploit these resources to the best of your ability.
So I think this resource conversation and the pushing against fear is really important for us to explore. And I don't know what kind of opportunities we need to have for our students, faculty, and staff, our community, to figure out how they're going to do that. I think there's a lot of pretty dynamic leaders in our community that are doing a lot of that work, and I think that we have to figure out how we get everyone in the right space, right? So that they can get that little push here and there, so they can feel like they can do whatever their thing is, right? You
May
know,
I comment on that? May I comment on that?
yeah, for sure.
I
Go
just
ahead,
think
Tom.
One of
Go.
the ways that can continue to differentiate York among other places of learning and is to have the staff, starting with you, instill a notion of no fear. No fear. You're young, you're effervescent, you're at the cusp of greatness. Take the chance, right? I'm not sure when Dawn started her thing, but you know what? There's no time like the present. And I think if the staff encourages folks to go out there and be, you know, intelligent risk takers, there's nowhere to go but up.
I agree with Tom. You know, I started this business with no expertise in actually running and operating a business. I was a corporate employee for many years, and so I didn't really know what I didn't know. But back to what I offered a little bit earlier, I took advantage of the resources, and I think that you have to. My dad used to always say, and today is his birthday. My dad passed away, but he used to always say, "You can't win if you're not in it. You can't win it." And so, if you don't take advantage of all of these courses, and I mean, in Jamaica, there's a lot of free courses. I mean, but you have to apply yourself. And one of the things I have learned over the last year, especially in 2020, is entrepreneurs, you know, we're so busy working in the business that we don't necessarily take the time to work on the business. And so one of the things that I really have tried to do in the last 6 to 8 months is to work on the business and to figure out ways to grow the business, to learn more sales things, to learn more processes, to meet more people that are better in business than I am, and so that I can emulate some of the things that they have been doing in order to catapult their businesses. So I just think that it's important for entrepreneurs to not only, again, work in their business, but to work on their business and take the time to learn.
So the only other thing I will also add is I think you should also, sometime when I am fearful, look at the 10-year-old entrepreneur that's making $2 million off the business they started. Look at the woman that owns, just recently, there's a woman and her daughter that own 25 McDonald's franchises in one city. I think it may be Houston or something. Like, tap into, you know, I don't know about you all, but
it's Compton.
Oh, is that where? Oh, that she's in California. Okay,
Yeah.
I should have known that. I'm sorry. So it's the mother and the daughter, right?
Yes.
And they own 22 McDonald's.
Yes.
Come on now. That's serious. So I guess what I'm saying is sometimes you have to put yourself in a place where you're receiving energy around success. And I think that's a new thing that I'm trying to like. So you know, whether it's via social media or your reading list or your going to, in this new world, we go to 15 virtual conferences a week if you want to. I mean, I don't know if you have that time, but if you're really interested in getting that momentum, there's a lot of information out there. So I offer that you have to push yourself to do that. Okay. All right. So I think we're doing good. I think we're going to open up the questions. If you all want to put questions in the chat or raise your hand, that would be great. I will ask questions until I see a question. So what's the difference, Hope, in this particular position and your last position?
So, when I first,
And people may not know what your last position was.
okay,
Training,
right.
I'm
So I'll
sorry.
talk a little bit about that. So I was in Harlem for a dozen years before I came to Jamaica. And there I was focused on doing basically the same sorts of things, a little differently, but creating and expanding the economy, employment opportunities for local residents, and bringing more services, housing to that community. What I think is different in Jamaica is that when I first was interviewing for the job in Jamaica, and that was 2015, I felt like downtown Jamaica was kind of where Harlem was in sort of the 2007, 6 range. And so I felt like I could bring some of the resources, support that I had brought to Harlem to Jamaica. And I would say that, this opportunity has been amazing for me because the community's been so warm and engaging. They've been very much supportive of the change and really excited about the local economy expanding and what's to come. There was a little bit of resistance in Harlem, and so that's sort of the difference that I see.
Fantastic. That's helpful. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Okay, so anybody else want to talk about something else they used to do versus what they do now?
I want to just piggyback, if I can, on Hope's comments really quickly.
Yep.
She's way too modest. We started around the same time. I have the pleasure of herding cats in the borough of Queens.
I
And
agree.
and cats they are, but we got to tip a hat to Hope for what she's done to revitalize downtown Jamaica. It's been fantastic, and I think I am very bullish on that area down there. I'm bullish on Queens in general, but we started this tech council at the Queens Chamber. Hope is a member of that, and I hope as she grows, it's so smart to change the mindset. By the way, for your officing down there as you build out those new spaces based upon the challenges of the COVID. I cannot wait to get some startups, not only as part of York, but also part of what Hope is building in downtown Jamaica. Great opportunity across the board.
Thank you, Tom. And I just want to say that as COVID passed, I look forward to rejuvenating our Startup New York program, where we can work together with York and Tom to get some high-tech businesses here in the downtown.
So Hope, tell me, are there businesses that are coming that students could be working at? I hear a rumor about a Target and other things. I'm not sure.
So the Target is open.
Yes.
All right.
Target is open. And what's exciting about the Target being open is that Target is a bellwether for other retailers. So if Target's there, then we need to be there.
Yep.
And so that's always helpful to be able to tell another retailer, well, Target's here. So that's exciting. Yep. And with respect to other businesses coming, I think some of the businesses we had talked to before COVID had put a pause on. But we will resume those conversations and, keep you posted.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much.
Don? I wanted to answer that question that you posed to Hope, because I thought it was a good one about what we did before we did this. I spent nearly 16 years promoting people, places, and things for Prudential Financial, which is a major financial services firm in Newark, New Jersey. And how I find a little bit of alignment with what I'm doing now is I was helping the company tell people how important it was to prepare financially for your retirement, right? I have figured out and learned how much health and wellness and money is attached. And so here at the Nourish Spot, what we're helping people do is to actually live longer so that if you saved your money, you can have a more vital retirement. And I'm really, really happy about that. And I'm also happy that I'm using those same skills that I use to promote Prudential all around the world. I'm using those to do the same thing for Nourish and for some of our other friends here in Jamaica, Queens.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Okay, so as we get to 9:50, I see Harry, is your hand actually up? I want to be sure I'm looking at my boxes. That's part of my job. Is your hand up? You have a question, or were you clapping? I see a hand up over there. So if I don't hear anything, okay.
Yes, it's
Okay.
me.
Yeah,
I didn't have a question. I just want to share some experience, if that's okay.
of course.
First of all, it's a great panel. I think it's been very productive, and I think people are doing very good work. And some of the things you said, personally, I was an entrepreneur. I own my own business for 20-some years, and I kind of agree with Hope. I went into business. I had a college degree. First thing I did was lost all my money. So being trained, taking a business, bookkeeping, accounting, and all that is very important. I found in my experience at the York SBDC, a lot of college people are difficult to deal with because they don't know what they need to know so they could be successful. We just finished doing e-commerce digital training series. We did a survey of Southeast Queens, and we asked business owners, what were the 2 skills you really need? And they identify e-commerce and digital skills. So we just finished doing like a 5-week training series, and it was very successful. And one thing, and we're gonna, it was a collaboration between the York Business Department and the York SBDC, as well as community organization. And we had a lot of people, and it was very well attended. But one of the things that at the end of the course, what a lot of people informed us, local merchants and everything, is that we need to bring it down to their level. It was too over their heads. So we need to go into the community and deal with people and find out how to be the most effective so they can learn and acquire these new skills. And secondly, the second area that people identified was lack of financial management skills. So in June, we're having another training series with the York Business faculty, SBDC, and others, how to improve your financial management skill. And it gets back to my point. In both ways, we had the interns. We had 3 York College interns in the e-commerce, and they learned a lot, and they were very helpful to the participants. So in our upcoming series, we have a national format, is how to do financial management training. But we need to figure out how to break it down so we could be quite successful with the local entrepreneurs. We did a lot of PPP work, and we were successful with more established companies. But with the barbershops, beauty shops, some of the local community, we need to improve and understand how to work better with them.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wells, for those comments. So I'm gonna ask you, thank you, we're gonna follow up on that. I'm gonna ask everybody to see Dean Maureen Becker's comment in the chat at 9:45. She gave information about our upskilling program. It is a great resource. I hope everybody saw it. And is able, I know that we're recording, we're going to be posting our executive breakfast on the website so people can come back to it, but that's a fantastic opportunity. Thank you so much, Dean Maureen. Let me remind everyone that there's a couple of things, no, there's more than amazing things going on at York College. So let me thank my panelists first. Thank you. Secondly, let me say that the foundation board has been a huge support to changing and building the infrastructure of the conversation around advancement at York College. And we have raised already this year more money than ever for emergency student grants and for the students directly than ever in the history of the college. So please buy your tickets for May 1st. Please, 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 at the virtual event, invite other people, right? I know that they put that in the chat already. Please visit the Nourish Spot, right? Be active with the Chamber of Commerce, right? Understand what Greater Jamaica Redevelopment is about, right? Because our panelists are deal breakers and deal makers in our community. So if you don't know what these three people do and the community of work that they are doing, go on the individual websites. This is what I tell people. Go on the individual websites of these entities and find out about what they're doing, right? I'm going to give all three of them their last word, and then we are going to close out. Again, thank you for being here. This is our effort to honor a historic event that was happening at York College prior to my arrival, but we wanted to try to figure out how to do it. So, all right, Tom, I'm going to go to you, and then I'm going to go to Hope, and I'm going to Don, and then we're going to close out. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Eanes. I'm going to make a plug for that event on May 1st, right? I am lucky and blessed enough to have been asked to be one of the honorees, and I'm going to make a plug for education and for our students. You know, I have been lucky and blessed. I went to a private four-year college. I went to Manhattan College for my MBA, but the folks today even have a hard time and a challenge affording a wonderful college like York. So I'm going to just be, I'm not going to glad hand here, but you know what? The price of admission for our event, I think Dana already put it in the chat. It's a relatively small contribution for a wonderful thing. Please don't do it for me. Do it for the folks, the kids that need the education. Do it for Southeast Queens. Do it for those kids that we depend upon in the future to be our future leaders. And that's the only plug I want to make. And thank you all for allowing me the opportunity to be on this call today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Dr. Eanes, thank you for having us on this call today. I think it's a very important discussion, and I'm glad that we have lots on the call to hear what we have to say. I appreciate the fact that I work with Dawn and Tom and others in doing this work to expand the economy and create opportunity for the people that live and work in Southeast Queens. As we mentioned, there is a rich ecosystem of resources. And so I would just like to emphasize that it's never been a better time to think about business, working in business, starting your own business, and thinking about the future for Southeast Queens.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, Hope. All right, Don.
Well, I want to say thank you again, Dr. Eanes, for inviting me and the Nourish Spot to be part of this wonderful conversation this morning. I feel very blessed and fortunate to be on the stage with Hope and Tom. You know, I think I want to leave us with another quote from my late dad. And he used to always tell us, you are what you put into yourself. So this morning, those of us who dialed into this executive leadership briefing, we've decided that we needed to know more, learn more, so we can do more and succeed more. And so I think that this is a wonderful thing. I hope that we continue to do this going forward. And I also just want to tell Harry that if he needs my help, as a board member of the foundation to help get the barbershops of the world and the small businesses. I know a lot of them. They're my friends. And so I would love to be helpful to you to make sure that they're aware of the awesome resources and assistance that are available at the SBDC at York College. And with that, I say thank you again, and come, let us nourish you at the Nourish Spot.
All right. Thank you so much. I think we have had a wonderful executive breakfast. I want to commend our panel for being here and being supportive of York College. I want to thank all the participants. I want to ask you to stay healthy and safe. And I want to see you the next time. And if you have ideas of anything else that we could offer you as a community, let us know. We are open to hearing from you. And we very much want you to know that your college is of the community, with the community, and serving the community at all times. So thank you so much, everybody. Stay safe and
Thank
stay
you.
healthy. Stay safe. See you next time. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you.
all.
Thank you. Take care.
Have a blessed
Bye-bye.
day.
Thank you.